There's a lake in northern Tanzania that photographers have found dead animals around. And the animals didn't look dead. They looked like statues. A bird, wings still half open, turned to stone. A bat, frozen mid-motion, hard as rock. Perfectly preserved, down to the individual feathers, just no longer alive and no longer soft. That sounds like something out of an old myth, a cursed lake that turns whatever touches it to stone. And the strangest part is that the myth is basically true. It's just chemistry instead of magic. This is Lake Natron. From up here it doesn't even look like water. It looks like a wound in the ground, deep red, streaked with white, with swirls that almost look painted on. And that color, the reason it's red, is tied directly to the reason nothing that falls in comes out the same. So today I want to fly down onto this lake and figure out what's actually going on here, because the turns animals to stone part is real, but the truth about this place is stranger than the legend, not less. Let's get our bearings first. This is the East African Rift, one of the places on the planet where the continent is literally being pulled apart. Over millions of years, the land here is splitting, and one day, far in the future, this is where Africa is expected to tear into two. That matters because it explains the lake. Sitting right nearby is a volcano, and it's not a normal one. Most volcanoes erupt molten rock. This one erupts something closer to liquid mineral, a lava so unusual and so rich in sodium compounds that scientists treat it as almost one of a kind on Earth. For a very long time, that volcano has been feeding this whole area with those minerals. Rain washes them down the slopes. They collect in this low basin, which has no river draining out of it. Water comes in, water evaporates in the heat, and everything the water was carrying stays behind, concentrates, builds up, year after year, for thousands of years. So what you're looking at isn't really a lake in the normal sense. It's more like the bottom of an enormous natural evaporating dish, where the leftovers of a very strange volcano have been piling up with nowhere to go. And here's where it stops being a normal lake and starts being something you should not swim in. The water here is alkaline, the chemical opposite of acid, and it's extreme. Depending on the season, the pH can climb somewhere around 10 to 12. To give you a sense of that, that's not far off from ammonia or industrial cleaning products. This is water that sits in the same chemical neighborhood as the stuff you're told never to get on your skin. And it's hot. The surface can reach temperatures that would scald you, regularly climbing to levels around 40 degrees Celsius and higher, which is over 100 Fahrenheit. So put those two things together. It's not just caustic, it's caustic and hot. It's essentially a shallow bath of warm, mineral-saturated liquid that behaves more like a chemical solution than like a pond. That combination is what dissolves most living things. For an ordinary animal, falling into water like this is closer to falling into a vat at a factory than into a lake. Their skin, their eyes, their soft tissue simply can't handle it. So now let's get back to the animals turned to stone, because the way it actually happens is more unsettling than the legend. When a bird or a bat dies in or near this lake, and it does happen, especially to birds that get disoriented over that mirror-flat surface, the body doesn't rot the way it normally would. Instead, the minerals in the water begin to coat it. That same sodium-rich chemistry that dissolves soft tissue also, in the right conditions, preserves and hardens what's left. The carcass gets encrusted, calcified, locked into the exact shape it was in when it died. The result is what those photographers found, animals that looked like they've been dipped in stone, not decayed, sculpted. A bird posed as if it might still take off, except it's rigid, pale, and permanent. I want to be honest about one thing here, because it's important. Some of the most famous photos of these stone animals, the ones you may have seen, birds and bats posed almost artistically, were arranged by a photographer to get the shot. The animals were real, and they really were calcified by the lake, but they were repositioned to look lifelike on purpose. So the effect is real. The perfect poses are a little bit of human staging on top of it. I'd rather tell you that than let you think the lake arranges its victims into portraits.
But here's the twist that makes this lake genuinely strange instead of just deadly. Something lives here. Something thrives here, and it needs the lake to be exactly this hostile. That deep red color I mentioned at the very start, it's not blood, it's not the volcano directly, it's life. Specific microorganisms, salt-loving and heat-loving, bloom in this water and stain it red and pink and orange. They're perfectly happy in conditions that would kill almost anything else. To them, caustic and boiling is home. And those microorganisms feed something bigger. This lake is one of the most important breeding grounds on Earth for lesser flamingos. Hundreds of thousands of them, sometimes over 1 million, gathering right here. And they nest here for the same reason everything else avoids it, because it's deadly. The extreme water keeps predators away. Almost nothing can walk across it to reach their eggs. The very thing that turns other animals to stone is what makes this one of the safest nurseries on the continent. So the pink you see in some of these images isn't a stain. It's a colossal gathering of flamingos living on top of the one harshest bodies of water on the planet, precisely because it's harsh. That's the thing that stays with me about Lake Natron. From orbit, it looks like the most hostile place imaginable, a red scar that hardens dead animals into statues and dissolves almost everything else. And the legend, the lake that turns you to stone, turns out to be more or less accurate. It really does that. But sitting inside that same deadly chemistry is one of the largest, most reliable gatherings of new life anywhere in Africa. The exact quality that makes it lethal to almost everything is the quality that protects the flamingos raising the next generation. Same water, same heat, same minerals. Death for one animal, safety for another.